Hello everyone. So in today's video, I will be explaining 5 different use cases of how I'm using AlphaAgent, which is powered by OpenClaw. It's where AlphaAgent is like built on OpenClaw and it has all the best features, but with an added layer of security. So I will be explaining these 5 different use cases and how you can use it too in your work life. So let's start off with the very basic ones, and then we will move on to the next ones. And trust me, the last one is my favorite. So watch till the end. So the first one on the list is called a Google Maps scraper skill. So, and why I wanted to build this was I was working on go-to-market strategy, and while building that, we needed to have some sort of a scraper, and we also, as a team, we didn't want to, rely on any extra third-party tools, but we needed like a solid scraper, which like maybe you can use Google or other ones as well. But the idea was that it can turn any business directory data into, actionable lead lists where I can have like very detailed information. Maybe if I give it a radius in one city, like just explore all the businesses with this specific keyword with these filters, and then give me the list. That's what I wanted to achieve. And previously I was using Apify, which was again a perfect tool, but we wanted to build something in-house, and that is how we created this Google Maps scraper skill. So again, the goal was simple. What it does right now is, so if you could, like, these are some of the screenshots of how previously Apify worked. It was a simple Google Maps scraper, and when you would give it like some of the context or some business information, like extract this specific city or any businesses that you want, and it would give you very detailed information. Like it would also fetch all the social media accounts, all the company data, contact details, and everything. So to build that, what I did was this skill, and I'm here now under this Google Maps scraper skill, and it's created as a skill.md file, and it is using Places API, which is the one that is actually letting this skill to process and extract and scrape all of the businesses. And these are all the parameters that it provides me with, and I want to show you like how it will give me the final version. So I was looking at some of the dental clinics specifically in one of the states, and the response that I got from this was in this format, and you can see how detailed it is, from business names to categories to website URLs. Then I also wanted to extract some more insights on the positive and negative reviews of how the business is performing. So I went a step ahead and asked my agent to actually pull up all the positive and negative reviews and summarize those. So to do that, what it did was, you can see these columns. There were top phrases 1 2 3, and there were also some negative remarks as well. I also got the LinkedIn URLs, total review count, and all of this information. Then I continued with this. So this is how my agent was able to build this basic script. Now I can use it on all my cold outreach emails. I can use it to extract multiple businesses, and not just on businesses. I can also use this type of scraper on building my own lead list instead of relying on any third-party tools. The next one on the list is also a very simple one. It's called a cold email outreach. And based on the same GTM strategy goal that I had in mind, I wanted to have like sort of one skill. That's why I do not have to give prompts to Claude or ChatGPT again and again with every single requirement. So I just needed like a very specified generic templated version based on all of the information that our marketing team has developed, our sales team has developed, and using all of the insights from all those departments, I wanted to create like this sort of a standardized outreach version. So it should all have some sort of like insights and data based on the leads that we are sending these emails to. Idea. So this was the idea. We wanted to create like 2 to 3 messages sequence with insights, and it can help us in all of the burden of outreach. Like it can give us all the messaging based on all the insights that we already have. Now let's come to the actual skill part. So now we are in the window where the actual skill.md file of this cold email outreach is open, and I can show you that what this is doing is, so I was creating these emails from AlphaAgent, and so in my skill, I have mentioned clearly what I want it to do. I've created and selected my niche and what kind of messaging do I want to create, what kind of angles should the email sequences should be. That is how I'm going to use it for. My next goals on this specified skill would be to then, in OpenClaw, because OpenClaw can be connected to a lot of different integrations. We do have like multiple different integrations. So what my plan is to maybe create some sort of an automation where it should fetch real insights, real data, real metrics from all the leads that are already responding to the email sequences. And based on the numbers, maybe do like an integration with Apollo or whatever our CRM channel is. Based on all the stats, it should continuously improve on the data. So that is what the main goal of using OpenClaw instance for this specified task is, self-improvement. So I will definitely share how we have achieved that sort of results we'd get out of it. All right, so now coming towards an important skill that is really helping me out right now, is a personalized landing page generator. So the goal of creating this skill was to automate the process of creating high converting landing pages for like campaign specific ones without like spinning a full build process, which would take tons of tokens and which would take an entire day for us to like create all of those visuals. We want this skill to process lots of landing pages at a fraction of a cost, so that we can continue building our outreach process, and by automating as much of the task as possible. So my goal was that if I could give one specified URL based on my skill, my agent already knows what the business we are in, what cold email messages should we do, what sort of businesses we're working on using the Google Maps scraper skill. So this one is like connecting all the dots, where it is now finally taking all of their data and then creating like a very personalized landing page based on all of those insights. So it should, let's say I give it one URL of the prospect, it should take that URL and then create like a personalized landing page, and I'll show you how it is doing that. So what it does is, so I've created like a very basic generic template on GitHub repo. So now it is taking that template, and then there is also a data.json file, which is then whenever I give it one URL, it would fetch all the branding color, the messages part, and any pain points that are mentioned on the prospect's website. It is taking all of that and then filling up a data.json file, and then using the same template that I provided it is creating me personalized landing pages for every single prospect. This process has saved us a lot of tokens and also is very time efficient, on our Alpha Agent instance. All right, so here we are. It's called landing page generator skill, where we are automating the data collection from our client URL. And the process is that it first of all, it fetched the page using web fetch, and then we are extracting all the different sorts of information as I just shared earlier. Then we are translating all the pain points, use cases, what metrics would have listed on their page, and then finally we are creating using the master template repo and the client data that we have just fetched. Then we are creating a personalized template. One good example or a demo could be, for example, if this was the website, it was just a random one that I put up for this example. If that was the one and I wanted to create a personalized one, this is how the agent helped me create one. So it perfectly fetched all the information, all the numbers, all the branding. I did not have to do one single line of code for this landing page to be generated, which was the best part. Then it is also mentioning all the challenges that a prospect might be having, and it is also showing a very visual demo of how the Alpha Agent could help them in an actual conversation like a chatbot. And then all the automations that this agent can do for them based on their work, based on their data, and then at the end a call to action like booking a demo or something. So this is the skill that I'm really excited to share the results with you in the next video. Okay, let's go on to my last two favorite ones. This one is called Remotion Video Generator. If you know about Remotion, it's a very powerful tool that has recently come up where you can use it to make videos programmatically through their API calls. And simple, through some lines of code, you can generate amazing visuals, you can generate motion graphics, you can generate your product demos, and it's just the sort of video generation tools that we needed. So I love this product. This is an amazing one. I think everyone should give it a try. So what I'm doing with this specific tool is I wanted to create sort of like a process in my own OpenClaw instance where I can use all the context that it already knows and maybe connect some more tools with it, do some text processing in it, and then finally use that text or use that sort of a storyboard and then pass it on to Remotion to create me or help me create a very interesting video demo for whatever I was working on. So my goal was to create short explainer videos so I can eliminate as much as possible the process of handcraft videos, which I know that these motion graphics videos take time and effort. So let me share the skill itself. All right, so here it is. It's a video production workflow using Remotion. It can be used when you are creating videos, short films, commercials. It triggers on requests to make promotional videos or social media videos or anything that you want. So the way I've set it up is that if I ask it to fetch any specific brand data, so by providing a URL, it would first fetch all the information about that specific URL, about that specific prospect, and then taking all of that info about the colors, the branding, and that is how I am then passing it on to actually create the video. So what I mean by that, using the same GTM go to marketing strategy, the same one that I was just creating for the email outreach and all of that, I wanted to show the clients an actual demo of what Alpha Agent can do for them. And to do that, I wanted some sort of motion graphics video showing what's possible. And that is how I created this one that started from here. Okay, let's see that. So you can see how it created. So I've once all of this is doing through simple prompting. I've explained it already, like what Alpha Agent is, what are the possibilities with doing it, and then I gave it like this specified dental clinic one. What it did was it fetched all of the information from the specific prospect and used my own website to what this company does needs, and build like the bridge of how both companies can work together to build demo. It's showing all the automations that it could be, the conversations we can, possibilities that Alpha Agent can connect with, and again it is discussing about the memory part and also some more powerful features. So I love this part. I can do it for other websites as well, and I can bulk and then pass on to all of my mass campaigns on the email side. The other use case I use this specified skill is for content creation. So one of my tasks is to AI automations I'm building. I should create very simple explainer videos on those. More people can learn about what AI is capable of. In order to do that, what I did was, at the end of my day, what I usually do is whatever, like I've used Alpha Agent, I would simply ask it to let's summarize whatever we worked on today, and then maybe extract good lessons out of it. What did I learn? What were the mistakes that I was doing? So recently I got to know like how a single embedding model can change the entire output of a RAG agent. And while doing that, I simply asked my agent to summarize it for me and a script for me so I can explain it. And using that script, I also asked it that I need to create an explainer video of how that is different. So it helped me create this explainer video, which I see is like good and easier to understand. So it is explaining how the model creates all of these embeddings, how the meaning is stored, what a specified one means. So as a content creator, what I can do is I can simply explain the stuff, or I can simply record a video I'm doing right now and add all of these visuals within my video, so that would look like a lot of effort has been made for making it more and more understandable and easier. That would be super helpful for a lot of creators as well. Now for the last one and the most favorite one. As an AI user, I believe that AI should help us achieve what we have never achieved before, to gain maximum advantage out of it. And to do that, I wanted to create like a self-optimization skill in a way that whatever work I'm doing right now, maybe in any chat, maybe it's in Claude, ChatGPT, it's in Alpha Agent, whatever that is, any conversation that I'm having with an AI agent, it should have the context of it. And by the end of my day, it should read all my entire chat, whatever I have discussed, whatever issues I have faced, whatever skills I developed out of it, like whatever my interaction was, and then like run as a cron job and give me like a very summarized version the next day when I start my day. Like, okay, this is what you worked on, and looks like there is a lot more improvement that you can do in the skills that you have developed or the way you are thinking on these problems. And I do want like this kind of a accountability where like this big knowledgeable power is reviewing all of my work on a regular basis and then helping me to achieve my max potential. Like this is what you do, and you can improve your efficiency on these tasks by 100%. So that is the goal of creating this self-optimization cron job a skill. So what it does is it is a daily cron workflow that runs at my time. What the way I've set it up is that it would after every chat, or so a big problem with OpenClaw is the memory issue. I did not want it to save all of the past chats. So what I do is whenever I am having chat in my dashboard and I am having like detailed one about the discussion, type in a keyword of wrap up. And what that wrap up would do is it will ask me that, do you want to send a compact version of this transcript to this self-optimization queue? And I would say yes, and it would do that. So say the next that would be added in the queue, it would easily fetch that and give me all the improvements on that one. So that is really, really helpful, because it gives me ideas that I am not even thinking of. Like, okay, I created this skill, and based on that, there are these 5 new skills that I can implement within my instance. That would be super helpful for me in achieving my goals. So yeah, it also looks into my sol.md file, it looks into the context, and even if I'm working on a couple different tools, let's say Claude or ChatGPT, I can simply export my chat from that specific version, my alpha agent instance. Like, I can have some sort of a conversation about it, and then again I would simply send wrap up, and it would use that, like compact it, and then add it to the self-optimization queue, which can then on the next day on the same time, it would give me all the insights on that one. So that's really helpful.